The administration doesn't want you to know what happened in Benghazi. It's a bad story, and they're trying to cover it up, in my opinion. You know, this is the administration that's under criminal investigation for leaking the details of the bin Laden raid, which was a very successful operation, foiling the underwear bomber plot in Yemen, attacking the Iranian nuclear program with Israel through cyber technology. If they do something good, you can read about it on the front page of the New York Times. If they have a national security debacle like Benghazi, it's like pulling teeth. That's why, and the media seems to be uninterested in detailing the failures of President Obama's foreign policy.
I'm sure that the White House is not preventing anyone from speaking. This president also made clear that those who were responsible for the deaths of 4 brave Americans in Benghazi would be held accountable, and that investigation continues. Our interest is on what happened in Benghazi and not on the political ramifications of this political debate that we've seen over the course of the last several months, and the president's focused on that.
And it seems to me that it's a bad move if the administration really is muzzling them. They shouldn't be muzzled. They should be made available, if they want to be available, to the press and to Congress if necessary. We need all the facts. Seems pretty simple to me.
Charles.
But it's simple, but the administration has not done what is simple and logical and what you'd expect from any government, to be honest with the American people with exactly what happened. I think the administration has counted on 3 things here. The total lack of interest by the mainstream media, and essentially covering for the administration and treating it as it did when it did treat it, like a political story, Republicans attacking the administration. Second, counting on the fact that with the passage of time it would seem like less and less important. So you get the former Secretary of State saying in a hearing 4 months after the event, what does it matter at this point? Well, yeah, it's almost a third of a year later. So it's essentially hoping it'll recede in the rearview mirror. But lastly, counting on the fact that there isn't a human face on any of this. The dead are dead, and what you would ordinarily hear from are the people who were there, probably in terror, thinking about where is our country, who's thinking about us, and having that then coincide with the story of a president who showed almost no interest in this whatsoever, beside a briefing that was already scheduled early in the evening, and then he retires for 7 hours and doesn't inquire after that. So when you put the human face with the apparent indifference, then you've got a real story. And I think that's why they're afraid of having anybody on camera. When the administration wants to make a speech on gun control, it hauls in the parents of Newtown. It's not that you're going to get new information, you're going to get the drama and the pathos of people who've suffered. And I think what they want in a theatrical way, this administration, is to deny that and to have these people in the shadows. So in the shadows, it's an abstract story. It's about an event that happened far away, and the dead are already dead. And that's why I think they don't want people out there telling a story that would dramatize the importance and the meaning of a president who appeared to be absent that night.
There's no question this is a bad story for the administration. What I'm questioning, Charles, is that any other administration in the same situation of any party would behave a whole lot differently. In the sense that you're describing of trying to...
The media would. That's what's so staggering here.
Welcome back. Each week we vote, you vote actually. We don't vote, but you vote in our Friday Lightning Round poll online. And tonight you selected aid to Egypt. So we start there with our panel. A lot of focus on aid to Egypt after $250 million going that way.
We want to help a country. We don't want to help the regime, which is unfriendly. And thus our demand in return for the aid shouldn't be economic reforms, as the Secretary of State insisted. Should be political reforms that open space for the opposition, allow a free press to oppose the government, and guarantee free and open elections. In the absence of that, not a penny.
CPAC today, a number of speakers, including the last Republican nominee.
We've lost races before in the past, but those setbacks prepared us for larger victories. It's up to us to make sure that we learn from our mistakes and my mistakes, and that we take advantage of that learning to make sure that we take back the nation, take back the White House, get the Senate, and put in place conservative principles.
We don't hide behind our beliefs. We argue for them. Because a budget is more than just a list of numbers. It's an expression of our governing philosophy. In our budget, draws a very sharp contrast with the left. It says to the people in unmistakable terms, they are the party of shared hardship. We are the party of equal opportunity.
Charles.
Look, I think it shows how strong a bench we have and how good our prospects are in the future. And I'm a little less cynical than my compadres here about Romney. I thought he gave a gracious speech, but the most heartening element of that was the way that a young crowd, a quite conservative crowd, cheered him and greeted him with equal the grace, which I thought was really nice. Usually you kick a loser to the curb in American politics, and that was the exact opposite.
Representative Franks, let me just point out, had a statement released today. It's also unfortunate that it's taken multiple missile tests by these same rogue nations for this administration, led by the same president who in 2001 said, quote, I don't agree with missile defense, to realize that our missile defense systems, specifically these sites out west, have long needed more ground-based interceptors and absolutely critical to the ongoing security of America.
This is exactly why this is a really important moment. Not because of what's happening in Pyongyang, but because after 30 years of almost a religious opposition to anything having to do with missile defense, Democrats, liberals who are now in power understand how Reagan was right, how important it is, and how we really have to start now, belatedly because of democratic resistance, to actually have in place a way to defend ourselves against attack by rogue states, and it will be coming.
This has been a Sunfish production.